Lincoln, America. 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carriker.
Shotgun snap to Everett. He's got the left arm going, and now he's got a whole lot of Adam Carriker, who rips him down inside the 25-yard line.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Adam Carriker.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. I'm back to the Adam Carriker Show, the show that gives you unique insights, unbridled honesty, and yes, producer Jake and I, while we do not have a Shannon and Joy Taylor relationship, will have a whole lot of fun in the process. I warned him I was going to say that. He's over there laughing and smiling. He didn't think I would.
I did not.
Jake, did you miss me?
I did, yeah. Welcome back.
I missed you as well. All right, as always, you're going to hear Husker sports, college football, and sports in general as well. It's about that time to start talking a little bit of NFL. That's how we're going to close out the show today, talking a little bit of NFL. I saw a thing the other day. Aaron Rodgers. Oh, man, I got to find it. But basically the gist of it was, could Aaron Rodgers, this was before the season ended, could Aaron Rodgers take the Jets to the Super Bowl? And the comment below was hilarious. It said, yes, but it would cost a lot for all those plane tickets. And I thought that was pretty funny. But we're going to talk a little bit NFL at the end of today's show. Tyreek Hill wants out. He wants out of Miami, just like he wanted out of Kansas City. Thoughts on that, plus the NFL playoffs are going to start. But we're going to kick off the show. Some updates. Nebraska sports. Jalen Lloyd has found a home, Oklahoma State. All right. Jalen Gromstad's going to be back for Nebraska. We have depth in the quarterback room this year, this season, ladies and gentlemen. A little bit of Husker football, college football playoffs continue. But as always, we're going to lead, well, not as always, but as per the Nebraska football season, which really never ends now because that's just how college football works. We're going to do a little bit of a deep dive into Nebraska's next potential special teams coordinator. All right, before we do that, we still have our daily giveaway. All you have to do is call. Be caller number 5. It's like the easiest giveaway you've ever heard. All right, the prize for the daily giveaway contest, $100 gift certificate to Automotive Solutions. They are located at 2040 Southwest 5th Street here in Lincoln. All you have to do is call in. Be caller number 5. Today, I will not be bringing you on air because Jake did not know about this, but I've got a surprise trivia challenge for him today. We're going to do that next. Basically, I saw a video on TikTok about the 1981 Sugar Bowl, and I took notes so I can sound really smart. And instead of me talking about it, I'm going to quiz Jake.
Uh-oh.
There's some weird things about that game. Like, they had more punts in that game than completed passes. So I'm going to quiz Jake on that here shortly. But call this number. What's that number, Jake?
402-464-5685.
Simply be caller number 5. There's number 5? Yeah. Simply be caller number 5. Hey, when you get a bye week, you don't win college football playoff games. You come back a little bit rusty on the ticket. But we're going to do what we do. Call that number. Be caller number 5. $100 gift certificate to Automotive Solutions. All right, before we dive into Nebraska football, the next special teams possible coordinator. Oh, you're running? You're scared? Jake's running out of here. He's scared. He doesn't want to do the trivia challenge. All right, maybe we'll do that when he comes back in here. I think he's got to answer the phone. Maybe Austin's going to answer the phone. Are you coming back, Jake?
I'm coming.
You're scared already? I just got back, man.
I heard that 81 outdates me a little bit. I had to get out of here.
I like the way you said to get out of here. Like really meant that. All right, before we dive into Nebraska's next potential special teams coordinator, a little bit of SEC bias, college football playoff talk, and Husker basketball, and then closing out the show today with some NFL talk as we get ramped up for the NFL playoffs starting this upcoming weekend. The 1980 National Championship game, the 1981 Sugar Bowl between number 1 Georgia, number 7 Notre Dame. All right. Do you know who won? You got to know who won, right?
Georgia. That was their last title.
All right, question number 1. What was the score? That wasn't even going to be a question, but I'm having fun because I don't think you know this stuff. And the last time I did this, you went 3 for 3, and I was not happy with that. I was too easy on you.
Well, I know that Herschel Walker should have won the Heisman this year, right? Okay. Did not. So he led Georgia. That was their last title. The score, though, that's a little bit more difficult. I'm guessing it's low scoring based on what you told me earlier.
Lower scoring, yes, that is correct. Yeah, more punts than completed passes. That would be low scoring.
Yeah, I just throw something out there. It's just a no. I'd say 13-6, but I have no clue.
I was going to say, if you could be within 10 combined points. So what'd you say, 13-6?
Yeah.
That's 19. It was 17-10, so 27. I will give you that. Yeah. You're 1 for 1. I'm already upset because you're not supposed to do well with this one because that was my entire goal. All right. So both teams combined for 16 punts in the game, but only 15 completed passes. You have to nail this one spot on. because I don't like that you got the first one right already. Georgia, how many passes in that game did Georgia complete?
The winner of the team. And there's 16 total?
No, there were 16 punts, 15 completed passes.
15 total. Okay.
How many did Georgia complete?
Well, since Georgia had the lead, I'm going to do a little bit of a thought process here. I think that Penn State might have been trying to come back. So
Notre Dame.
Sorry.
Yep.
Notre Dame, yeah. So I'm going to say they completed 6.
1.
Ooh, that's incredible.
1.
National title off that, huh?
Yes, they completed one. Notre Dame completed 14 passes. Georgia completed 1. And it was to clinch the game. It was third down late in the fourth quarter. They completed it. Guy going out of bounds. They were able to run out the clock after that. Okay. Notre Dame outrushed and outpassed Georgia that game and still lost 17-10. All right. Last question. This is going to be one of your little over-under things, which, by the way, we are amending for my trivia challenge as the tiebreaker. That really annoys me. Or at least let me go second or something.
All right.
All right. Freshman Herschel Walker, who played the game for 3 of the quarters on a separated shoulder. Okay. Mm-hmm. So he played the whole game, didn't come out, should have won the Heisman, et cetera, et cetera. Had a separated shoulder. That's not the question. Over under. Did he rush the ball over or under 35 times that game?
Well, I think because you're asking me and it stands out and they only had completed 1 pass, I'll go with over.
Oh, gosh dang it. All right, 36. I wasn't rooting against you or anything, Jake. So what, you got 2 out of 3 right? Hey, that's pretty good, though.
If you give me that first one, which I appreciate.
That's all right. You're relatively good to me in the trivia challenges when they come my way. So, all right, you got 2 out of 3. All right, Notre Dame, number 7 Notre Dame, lost, even though they outrushed, outgained, and Georgia, the Bulldogs, and Georgia only completed 1 freaking pass the whole game. And they had more punts between the two teams than they did completed passes, 16 punts, 15 total completed passes. Georgia beat Notre Dame on that day. Now, obviously, the most recent Sugar Bowl. All right, Notre Dame beats Georgia for the first time in either program's history. Georgia was 3-0 going into that game. Notre Dame pretty much mollywopped them. I mean, they controlled that game. All right, now we can talk about the buys and how that affects teams. And I told my wife, Angie, I said, I don't know that I'd want to buy. It's nice that you don't have to play the first round game. This is before Indiana played Notre Dame, the first playoff game. I was like, you're basically like, if you're Ohio State, you didn't play championship weekend, and then you get another 10 days. You get 17 days before your first playoff game. You got to buy, and then you're going to get 10 days before New Year's. It's like you almost got a buy and then a buy, like half a buy. Like a buy doesn't help you. It just makes you rusty. And then there's something to be said for over the years, especially when it was 6 NFC teams, 6 AFC teams, and the top 2 seeds used to get a bye in the NFL playoffs. Now there's 7 and 7 in each conference, and the number 1 seed gets a bye, and that's it. A lot of times the 1 and 2 team, 1 and 2 seed, would lose in the first round of the playoffs, even though they had the bye, even though they were supposedly the better team, and even though they had home field advantage. And I always felt it wasn't just like in college football case, it was 24 days off. Okay. In the case of the NFL, there is a different, when I first got to the Rams, okay, Torrey Holt pulls me aside. Like there was Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt, Steven Jackson, Orlando Pace, all those guys at the Rams. Torrey Holt pulls me aside before my first preseason game. He goes, there's a preseason level. Then when you go to the regular season, it steps up another level. The playoffs is another level. And then Torrey's like, I about killed myself in the warm-up for the Super Bowl. That's a whole nother level. So my point is there's an adjustment not only from the rust, if you're a college football player, from 23, 24 days off, but there's another level that goes up in the playoffs. And so you're not only a little rusty, now you got to adjust to this level that this team's not rusty and this team's already been playing at. The teams that had first round home field advantage are 8-0 in the college football playoffs. 4-0 in the first round, 4-0 in the second round. They had home field the first round and they weren't rusty the second round. So I was serious when I told Angie, I was like, I think it's going to make an impact in these games. I didn't think it would be like 8-0 type impact or 4-0 against the teams with actual buys. All right, let's talk a little bit of Nebraska football. Potential special teams coordinators, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what I've got here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 potential names. And I'm going to highlight the ones that stand out to me the most. All right, so right off the top, this is an individual that if we could get him, and he's available, like he's like the punters and kickers coach, okay, let me make sure I got this right. His name is Sean Snyder, son of former Kansas State football head coach Bill Snyder. He was an All-American punter at the University of Kansas State. Right now, he is the kickers and punters coach for the Oklahoma State program. When he was at Kansas State, he was one of the best special teams coordinators that there was. He won the special teams coordinator of the year in 2015, 2017. So he's helping with punters and kickers, but I guarantee if Nebraska picked up the phone, said, hey, you want to come be our special teams coordinator? By the way, we got a little bit of moolah. Matt Rule, he's not on the hot seat, but it's getting warm. Like, come here. We want you here. This is a guy that is an established special teams coordinator. This is a guy who has had successful special teams consistently over the years. All right. He's had teams that have ranked third nationally, not in the conference, third nationally in kickoff coverage. He's had players that have set conference records, okay, as far as return men, punt return yards, kick return yards. He's had the Big 12 Special Teams Player of the Week. The last 4 weeks that he was at Kansas State, he had the Special Teams Player of the Week when he was with the Wildcats. Okay, so this is a guy that I think would be a home run hire. This is an individual that if he got a phone call from Nebraska, I don't know why he wouldn't be interested. All right, so that's the first guy I'm going to mention. Next, I just had a phone call with Sam Cook. So actually, Sam Cook, former Husker from Seward, former teammate of mine, played 16 years in the NFL. He's currently a special teams consultant for the Ravens. His son is a punter here for Nebraska right now. I was like, you know what? I ain't talked to Sam since actually last time I interviewed him on the ticket. And when I looked at the text, it was 2023. So it's been about 2 years, a little too long. So I picked up the phone, I called him, and I was like, oh, man, they're in like getting ready for the playoffs. He's probably a little busy. So I shot him a text. Hey, just give me a chat or a shout whenever you're free to chat for like 2 minutes. He calls me like within 5 minutes. He's heading into a special teams meeting. I just asked him. So there's certain things that I will share anything that anybody is comfortable with me sharing. I will not share anything that anybody's not comfortable with me sharing, and I will not apologize for that. I will not put stuff out there just for the sake of being the guy that knows this or that or trying to gain headlines. That is not how I'm going to operate. But if somebody's comfortable with me sharing something, I'll share it. Sam, I spoke with him on the phone. I just asked him. I said, have you spoke with Matt Rule? Have you spoke with Nebraska? Not even about being the special teams coordinator, but just about an analyst or any sort of role here at University of Nebraska. And he said, no, not to this point. So while I think Sam would be a phenomenal addition, even if he was just an analyst, and he's from Seward, he's an alumnus here, obviously. I'm sure he'd be interested in potentially coming home, so to speak, although he was in Baltimore for almost 20 years now, if you include his special teams consultant career that he's had, or analyst career that he's had there with the Ravens. I'm sure he'd be interested. But there's been no conversations there at all, at least to this point. So I was a little bit disappointed to hear that, because I think he would have been a great option. I don't know whether the full-blown special teams coordinator or at least helping in the special teams in some way, shape, or form. But that does not seem likely unless the phone rings at some point this week. But I would imagine it would have already rang at some point, unless they hire a special teams coordinator and then that guy calls Sam to be brought in some sort of special teams type role. All right, the name that's being thrown around a lot, and I can see why, Mike Eckler. This is an individual who is Tennessee's special teams coordinator right now. He's considered one of the top 5 special teams coordinators in the entire country. All right, he's in his 4th season being their special teams coordinator and outside linebackers coach, former Nebraska coach, born and raised in this great state of Nebraska. He was the linebackers coach under good old Bo Pelini, 08 to 2010. All right, this is an individual. Let me see if I can get this all correctly here, because this would be, top 5 in the country. You know, that's where he's rated if you look at some of these rankings. Okay, that'd be a home run hire, I believe, as well. But when you read some of the things that are written, perhaps no special teams unit in the country made as significant a jump as Tennessee under the direction of Eckler when he was hired back in 2021. All right. They finished in the FBS top 20 in 5 different special teams categories, including block punt, kickoff return, net punting, punt return defense, and punt return average. By the way, we averaged 4.7 yards per punt return last year. We need to a gargantuan amount of help there. So this is an individual who could be perfectly happy where he is. He's at Tennessee. They were a playoff team. They're an SEC title contending team year in and year out. A lot of stability under Josh Heupel. Maybe he doesn't want to go. But he does have ties to Nebraska. I just laid him out. So there could be potential interest there for sure if that phone call is made. You know, and one of the thoughts that occurred to me, like, oh man, does anybody want to leave the overrated FCC? Well, first of all, apparently people do, because the co-defensive coordinator at Oklahoma, by the way, Oklahoma's strength, as bad as that team was, 6-7, lost to Navy, mollywopped Alabama, just going to bring that up again because that's always fun to say. The defense was the strength of their team. They were top 20 in just about every statistical category on defense, and there wasn't a stat on defense that they were below top 30. All right, they were the 19th ranked total defense in the country last year, and their offense stunk. And they were bad, and they were not good on offense. But the defense was good. So the co-defensive coordinator at Oklahoma leaves to go to West Virginia, a Big 12 school? I thought that was quite telling. Maybe the grass isn't as green in the Southeast as some people might think. Now, to be clear, I respect the SEC. Over the past 20 years, if you want to make an argument that they're the best conference in college football, there's an argument to be made. I would counter-argue that they're top-heavy. So you can throw all the national championships at me if you want. Let's talk about the middle to lower tier of that conference, which is what I've always said. They're top-heavy. And they get all these ranked wins because in the preseason, they're ranked highly by the voters who are connected to ESPN, who have a deal with the SEC, and then you get all these ranked wins, which was already kind of predetermined based on your schedule before you ever step foot on the field. All you had to do was win. Then you look at what happened this bowl season, you look what happens in the playoff, and all of a sudden you got Tennessee getting mollywopped. You got Georgia. It was a competitive game, but Notre Dame was clearly the better team. I mean, it was clear as day. So the SEC is good, but they're not what they once were. Last year, well, 2 seasons ago now, the Pac-12 was the best conference in America. This year, right now, it's the Big Ten. We had the best regular season team in the country with Oregon, probably the best team in the country, or hottest team at least, with Ohio State. You got 2 of the 4 final teams left in the college football playoff. We had the most amount of top 10 ranked teams, if you want to go by rankings, to most amount of top 5 teams, if you want to do that. It was the Big Ten. So anyways, I digress. Let's get back to Nebraska's special teams coordinator. My point is, it may not be so far-fetched if Mike Eckler gets a call from Matt Rule that his ears might be wide open to come back to Nebraska, but the numbers got to be right. I will say this. Nebraska's not hurting for money, all right? They are the 8th most profitable in the entire country when it comes to their sports programs. It literally just came out within the past week. They were number 8 in the country as far as turning a profit with their sports programs, and there was a lot of zeros and commas in that article that I read as well. So this could be a good possibility. All right, I'm going to bring him up because he's the name that everyone wants to hear, Bill Busch. Now, I'll tell you right now, I don't think it's going to happen. I would love it. He's a phenomenal coach. He's shown he can do it as a special teams coordinator, defensive coordinator, as a radio show co-host. He's shown he can do it at multiple places. Played in coached in national championship games, coached on national championship winning teams, coached high draft picks. He did it here as a D coordinator. He did it here as a special teams coordinator. And when I say he did it, he turned around bad units. I know enough to know that it's probably not going to happen. Another guy I'd like to bring up, let's see here, Brian Haynes, Appalachian State. Now, this is a guy, if you do some research, he's considered one of the top 15 special teams coaches in the country, probably number 11, is according to the specific list that I looked at. If you did an average of, hey, he's here, and you do an average, it came out to about 11. All right. He has been named a candidate for the Broyles Award that goes to the nation's top assistant. He's had All-America type kick returners. All right, let's see. They were 16th nationally, App State was, just a couple of years ago, in the overall special teams department when you averaged out their kickoff return, kickoff, punt return, field goal efficiency rating. So he's been consistently good. Now, I'm not going to sit here at this point in time, and other than Sam and maybe a couple other guys that I've alluded to, say that I know who has been called and who has not. I will simply say these are the candidates that stick out to me based on the knowledge I have, based on their credentials, based on who might be available. There could be someone that I don't bring up that becomes a top candidate that gets brought in. My gut says it's going to be one of these guys that I'm talking about today, but I can't sit here and say definitively that I know for sure. But the odds are trending towards the things that I'm talking about today. So this is let me see here. Under Haynes' watch, special teams consistently ranked as one of the best in both the FCS and conference. In kickoff, punt return, punt defense. Okay. And so he's had a lot of success. He's a guy that's at a good school at App State, but if Nebraska comes calling, we probably have a pretty good chance. Andy LaRussa. This is the special teams coordinator at Western Kentucky. On the special teams side, he's had one of the top punters, averaged nearly 50 yards a punt. Their net punting is amongst the tops in the country. Second best Just had their second best punting season in Western Kentucky 102-year football history. He is a coach who has coached tight ends. He's coached running backs, but also special teams as well. He's always done special teams, usually paired with something else. But if he came here, he would specifically be geared towards the special teams. All right, so that's a guy that's you can keep your eye on a little bit. The next guy I'm about to mention would be great. He has been at San Diego State for 17 years, not necessarily all as a coach. He's been there as a player, as a GA. Okay, but his special teams units have had a lot of success. All right. Efficiency ranking at a 66, which is amongst the tops in the country. He's had punters and kickers on the Lou Groza, which is a top kicker. Ray Guy Award finalist, which is a top punter in America. All right. His special teams ranked second in FBS and ESPN special teams overall efficiency rating. That's the second consecutive season in the top 5. So number 2 in the entire country, second in the second consecutive season being in the top 5 when it comes to overall special teams ratings. Let's see. Who else do I got here? I've heard LeVar Woods, which is the Iowa special teams coordinator, which at first I was kind of like, huh? But I don't know. USC stole UCLA's defensive coordinator, Danton Lynn. So you never know what can happen. Maybe Nebraska, and he's considered to be either the best or the second best special teams coordinator in the country. So LeVar Woods, which is Iowa's special teams coordinator, I don't know if I said that, but Iowa's special teams coordinator. He's a former Hawkeye linebacker, so he's probably got a whole bunch of, loyalty to Iowa, I suppose. But you never know. The almighty dollar can speak. I mean, Lincoln Riley up and left Oklahoma overnight. Brian Kelly up and leaves Notre Dame overnight. By the way, how does that decision look now? Marcus Freeman looks like a rock star at the moment. Can't win. Can't beat SEC teams with Notre Dame. Oh, wait. Notre Dame just beat the SEC champ with your former defensive coordinator, Mr. Kelly. So you never know what can happen. That one seems a little far-fetched, but it would be a home run, potentially. All right, Mark Scott, Baylor, a quality control special teams coach for Baylor in 2024. Now, here's what's intriguing about him. Other than I can go through all the stats. Again, he's had a ton of success with special teams over the years. But the connection is to Dana Holgorsen. He's coached under him at West Virginia and at Houston. Every single guy that I mentioned would be a really good coach. Like we're talking top 15 special teams coordinator in the country. The ones that stand out to me as being a little bit more likely. Okay, again, Sean Snyder, which he was the associate head coach and special teams coordinator at Kansas State. Now he's the punter and kicker coach at Oklahoma State. All right, that might be likely. Mike Eckler, the Tennessee special teams coordinator. Mark Scott at Baylor. Those are probably the 3 that stick out to me the most. If I was to go beyond that to a top 5, Brian Haynes at App State and Andy LaRussa at Western Kentucky. Any thoughts on any of those guys, Jake?
Not just a lot of stuff that sounds pretty good. Some of those guys, obviously, like you said, it might be tough to get a few of them, but you made me think for a second. Nebraska with Iowa special teams, and that gets you pretty excited because that would be quite a jump.
Talk about a Louisville Slugger to the groin of the Hawkeyes. That alone would make me happy.
Yeah.
We'd be getting one of the best special teams coordinators in America. All right, real quick before we head to break here, I think I mentioned this. Jalen Lloyd at Oklahoma State. You probably know by now, but we landed another transfer portal DB. Am I saying this right? Jameer Khan?
I believe so.
It always makes me think of Shakir Khan from the Jungle Book, Mowgli. I love that. 6 foot, 180 pounds, recorded 59 tackles, 6 pass deflections last season, had a Pro Football Focus grade of 74.5. A former player under Jamar Mosey, whose pipeline of recruiting has just been phenomenal for Nebraska. All right, has 2 years of eligibility. We were able to flip him from James Madison. Jalen Gramstad will be back next year. Got a 6-year of eligibility. So we got Dylan. What's the Purdue quarterback's name?
Marcos Davia.
We got him as a potential backup. We got TJ Lateef. We got Gramstad. We got a 4-deep quarterback room and a quarterback that's a starter now with experience. No longer am I going to say teenager or true freshman. All right, now we got an experienced quarterback. Let's see what else we got here. I think we're going to call that good for this segment. When we come back, a little bit of Nebraska basketball, a whole lot of college football, and we will wrap up the show with the last segment with a little bit more NFL talk. All right, don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back.
The McKinney's Irish Pub in the Haymarket is your place for English Premier League soccer. On Saturday, Tottenham plays Newcastle at 6:30 a.m., followed by Crystal Palace playing Chelsea at 9 a.m. To cap off the Saturday action, Arsenal will face off against Brighton at 11:30 a.m. On Sunday, Fulham plays Ipswich Town at 8 a.m., and then Liverpool will take on Man United at 10:30 a.m. You can catch all these matches and more at the McKinney's Irish Pub, your headquarters in Lincoln for English Premier League soccer at 8th and P.
The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
League One Volleyball is bringing the action to Omaha with Omaha's first serve on January 24th at 7 p.m. Central Time at the Liberty First Credit Union Arena. Witness history in the making as Love Omaha Volleyball takes on Love Madison in the team's inaugural home match. Be there to watch Olympic teammates Jordan Larson and Lauren Carlini go head-to-head in a battle of the world's best. Visit lovboma.com for tickets starting at $31. Volleyball is the next major league.
What's it take to be a mentor with big brothers, big sisters? It takes 30 minutes and a cup of coffee. A video game, best 2 out of 3. It takes sharing thumbs up emojis, clapping emojis, and loaded nachos at halftime. That's how you make an impact on a young kid's life. So go on, share a few hours a month, because mentorship may sound huge, but the truth is, it takes little to be big.
To learn more, volunteer, or donate, go to bbbslincoln.org.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
Advanced Medical Imaging is the largest radiology group in Nebraska, located in Lincoln at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. At Advanced Medical Imaging, they utilize state-of-the-art technology and blend it together with their compassionate, skilled team to guide you through every step. Whether it's an MRI, CT scan, or X-ray, their precise diagnostics help your doctor deliver the best care plan for you. Choose clarity and comfort in your life by choosing Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard and online at amimaging.com.
Hi, it's Joel Norman, the voice of your Lincoln Stars hockey team. Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket to hear the latest on the Stars with myself, head coach Rocky Russo, and special player guests.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. Segment 2 of this fine program on The Ticket is sponsored to you by our good friends at Mulberry Barbecue at 11th and Cornhusker, open Monday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Try their burnt-end sandwich, a brisket burrito, barbecue nachos, a full slab of ribs, a half-smoked chicken, and much, much more, plus incredible size. Ladies and gentlemen, get fueled for lunch today or make dinner plans at Mulberry Barbecue by Single Barrel, located at 11th and Cornhusker. So I went back and recounted. This is why I was not a math major. I talked about 10 special teams coaches, not 9. All right. Here's the thing. All we got to do is land one of somebody of that caliber, somebody like that. I think it's beyond realistic to get somebody like that. And then all of a sudden you got a potential. Okay, let's say it's Sean Snyder, who to me would be a home run. All right, hire. Special teams coordinator of the year twice. Mike Eckler, considered a top 5 special teams coordinator in the entire country right now. You get somebody like that. Or, I mean, I listed like 3 other guys that were considered top 15 defensive coordinators. All right, get one of those guys. Dana Holgerson's easily one of the top 3 offensive coordinators in America. I'd say him, Chip Kelly, Gus Malzahn. All right, and after, I know what Ohio State's doing now. They've gotten mulligans that no college football team in history has ever gotten before. So if you take that out of the equation, that Michigan game was awful. And if this were a normal college football season, that would have been a wrap. So he got extra shots to show what he could do that other coordinators haven't. But to me, my point is, when you play the way you did against a few times this year, Nebraska played great versus Ohio State. But Ohio State, I don't know what they were doing half the time. All right. And then you look at what they did versus Michigan. And then you lost up at Oregon the first time. It's great that you got a second crack at it. That's awesome. Okay, congratulations for you, and you look like the hottest team in the country. We can debate whether you're the best, because to me, the best is an entire body of work. It drives Jake nuts too. But we'll get into that either today or sometime this week. But my point is simply this. And Michigan's obviously better at the end of the year than they were at the beginning of the year. I also think Alabama was overrated. I'm alluding to the fact that they were clearly the better team in that bowl game versus Alabama. But my point is this. I think I give Holgorsen the slight nod over Chip Kelly, and I'd give him the slight nod over Gus Malzahn. Gus Malzahn took Auburn to the national championship under Newton, and then I think it was a couple years later, they went to the national title game. I think it was 2013, and they lost to Florida State, Jameis Winston, in the national title game. But beyond that, he's kind of struggled as a relative whole. So he's a great offensive coordinator. I'm talking about as a head coach. My point is, we may have the best OC in the country, easily top 3. John Butler still got to prove himself. I like what I saw in the bowl game. My gut tells me what we saw in the bowl game is a lot of what we're going to see next year. We're going to see a lot of an attacking style defense, a lot of tackles for loss, a lot of sacks, and potential big plays given up as well. Boise State, that's what they did this year. They led the country in sacks. They were also 120th in big pass plays allowed. We could be something similar, especially with the athleticism, the explosiveness, the speed, and the youth that we're going to have on defense next year. Okay. But John Butler's experience and resume puts him in the conversation to potentially be one of the best D coordinators in America. He's got a lot more to prove, but I think he gets a little bit more slack than some other folks have gotten in the past. If we bring in a top 5, top 10, top 15 special teams coordinator, we could argue we have, top 5, top 10 trio of coordinators in the entire country. It just depends on who we bring in. Is that crazy talk? Is that offseason Kool-Aid too soon? What do you think on that, Jake?
Well, I think there's, like you said, just a lot to be proven on John Butler's side as far as a coordinator at this level. So I don't know if I'd put him quite up there, but you wouldn't have done that with Paul Pelini coming in necessarily. And then, it didn't take long before, in fact, it took 1 year. Yep. That 2003 defense was great. So we will see, but no, absolutely. It could turn around and become one of the best staffs pretty quickly.
I don't even think Pelini'd been a coordinator. He was the linebackers coach at Green Bay.
Yeah.
The first time I saw him, I was in a Nebraska basketball game, and he was sitting next to whoever it was in the stands, and they pointed him out to the fans. That was the first time I ever saw him before I ever actually met him as a redshirt freshman. So, yeah, I just remember linebackers coach from Green Bay, and that was really all I knew about him. And then he turned out to be Bo Pelini. All right, but let's talk a little bit of Nebraska basketball real quick. The Huskers. All right, 12-2 on the season. Hey, did you know they're tied for second in the Big Ten? Let's ignore the fact there's only been 3 Big Ten teams played. Let's ignore that. We're tied for second with 5 other teams in the Big Ten, but that's okay. Beat and take down UCLA, number 15 UCLA, another ranked win, second ranked win on the season. Second time in 2 years we've had a top 15 team come into Pinnacle Bank Arena, and we've gotten the win. All right, they take down the Bruins 66-58 on Saturday. They play Iowa. Maybe they can talk to LeVar Woods while they're there. Is it here or is it there?
No, it's there, yeah.
Yeah, maybe we can have a little talk with LeVar Woods while we're there. Hey, come coach the special teams while we mollywop your basketball team. All right, Nebraska is going to take on Iowa tomorrow. They've won 20 in a row at home at Pinnacle Bank Arena. The men have. They have jumped 9 spots to 34th in the new NET rankings following their win over UCLA. And you told me during the break they're tied for 27th in the country rankings, like just AP rankings wise?
Yeah, just outside the top 25, and the others receiving votes there, would be 27.
Who are they tied with?
Let me double check. I got rid of that now.
Okay, while you look up that's all right. We'll go to the women's basketball side. The Lady Huskers are 11-4 on the season. All right. Had a convincing win over Penn State this past weekend, 72-61. I'm curious to see if both these teams, I feel really good that the men are going to make the tournament. The question is, can we get our, first ever NCAA basketball tournament win on the men's side? What are your thoughts on the ladies, though, Jake? What do you think their odds are of getting back to the NCAA tournament? They've already won a tournament game or two in the past, but what are your thoughts on their chances to get back to the tourney?
Well, they've had to fight through some injuries again. It seems like it's kind of frustrating that it keeps happening, but with what they've got, Markowski, Britt Prince, I mean, I still think that's an NCAA tournament team. We should hold them, to that level of expectation. I think they'll do it.
All right, I agree with you. I think they're going to be a bubble team, and they're going to have to earn their way in a little bit extra. All right, final thought on the bowl game. Somebody sent me this, and I did admit it was funny. Okay, so you got to keep in mind Boston College is kind of known for being a hockey school. So I just watched a volleyball school play a football game against a hockey school in a baseball stadium. Let's win some more football games and shut those kind of people up. In the meantime, I did find that to be minorly humorous. All right, a little bit of college football talk. And this is something that sticks out to me because I'm tired of the jumping. Like when Brian Kelly left Notre Dame to go to LSU, and Lincoln Riley. By the way, neither one of these guys are sitting on in a valley full of gold and on a bed full of roses at their new homes right now, I might add. But when Brian Kelly left Notre Dame to go to LSU because you can't beat the SEC teams in Notre Dame just beat the SEC champs, Georgia, by the way. All right. And then Lincoln Riley up and goes from Oklahoma to USC. By the way, USC just lost Miller Moss, lost their top 2 wide receivers, lost their starting quarterback, starting tight end. And there are USC fans that are legit like in a borderline panic right now after finishing 7-6. Now, I will say this. The USC had a losing record in the Big Ten Conference, but they're 2-0 versus SEC teams this year. They beat LSU. Who'd they beat in the bowl game? It was another...
A&M, was it?
A&M. Beat A&M. So 2-0. Like a below 500 Big Ten team is 2-0 versus SEC teams. Just want to point that out. But Marcus Freeman has led the Irish to a 32-8 record. Brian Kelly's 29-11 at LSU. And I predicted that... Oh, I actually texted you this, so you can verify this for me. I predicted, because I went through the 12-team college football playoff as it is right now, and then I described how I would change it. Now, I would change a lot of things about the playoff, but I said if I were to keep it to 12 teams, for simplicity's sake, how I would change it. Both times I went through and I predicted who would be in the national title game. And in both scenarios, I had different teams winning in different scenarios, but the last 2 teams standing, I had Notre Dame and Ohio State. Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
I remember you looking at me like I was crazy, and you were like, I just couldn't imagine Ryan Day winning a national title.
That's right.
And I've said this since last summer. I've said Alabama, if you look at the talent composite rankings, is the most talented team in the country. They got a ton of true freshmen, especially in their secondary. If you combine talent with experience, Ohio State has the best roster in America. It was just, are they going to put it together? And when were they going to do that? If they were going to do that. They're the hottest team in the country right now. They are the odds-on favorite to win the national title. Notre Dame, as much as I mocked them all year for that Northern Illinois loss, I said before the playoff, I said if they beat Indiana, who I also said didn't deserve to be in the playoff. Do you remember that? I was like, yeah, it's great you got one loss, because there shouldn't be 12 teams. If you got 12 teams, they have to be in. I don't think there should be 12 teams. So they shouldn't have been in. It's great you got one loss, but you only played one good team all year and you lost by 25. That's exactly what I said on this. Do you recall that?
Yeah.
So if you got a 12-team playoff, they have to be in. My issue isn't that they're in the 12-team playoff, is that there's too many teams in the playoff. That's my issue. And let's get rid of the byes. You can kind of see where I'm heading a little bit with this, probably down to something like 8 or so. But the ESPN SEC network is not going to take money out of their own pockets. They're just not going to do that. So what's going to happen is they're going to say, oh, byes are a problem. We should add more games. It's because we want to make more money, even though they won't add that last part in. But my point is, I was always like, man, I actually think Notre Dame's playing some really good football. And then they beat Indiana the way they did. By the way, they beat Indiana by less than they beat Georgia. They beat Indiana by 10. They beat Georgia by 13. Just going to point that out for all those who thought Indiana shouldn't have been in the 12-team playoff. To be clear, I think they should be in the 12-team playoff. I just don't think there should be 12 teams in. I was like, I'll never bring up the Northern Illinois game again. I know I brought it up, but never in a negative context, because I was being recruited by Oregon State coming out of high school. And this was when Oregon State was a part of an actual conference. And this was when they were coming off their 2001 season. They finished number 4 in the country. Their only loss was by 3 points on the road at a top 3 Washington Huskies team led by Rick Neuheisel, Marcus Tuiasosopo, who beat Drew Brees and Purdue in the Rose Bowl game, if you remember all that. They actually beat Miami, who only had 1 loss that year. Okay, Ken Dorsey, I should say, was the quarterback. But that Oregon State team had TJ Houshmandzadeh, Chat Ochocinco, Ken Simonton was the running back, the best running back in the Pac-10 conference that year. And Jonathan Smith, the Michigan State head coach, was the quarterback. And they curb stomped Notre Dame, a top 10 Notre Dame team that year, 41-9 in the Fiesta Bowl. My point is, they only had 1 loss that year, and they were easily one of the best 5 teams in the country. The reason I bring them up, their second game of the year, they beat Eastern Washington, 17-14. And they really got outplayed that game, should have lost. And so there's other examples of this. But this is the most distinct one that popped into my head immediately when I was like, I'm going to let the Northern Illinois thing go to rest, because that Oregon State team was for real. Like, I think had there been a 4-team playoff, they would have been in it. They would have made some noise, but they never got the chance. So my point is, that's what kind of helped me put the Northern Illinois game to bed and say, hey, Notre Dame I actually think is pretty good. So that's why I predicted Notre Dame versus Ohio State. The other thing that I predicted before the season, and I was wrong on, I said it's going to come down to a 3-loss SEC or a 3-loss Big Ten team. And I was wrong on 2 parts for the final slot or 2 in the 12-team playoff. I said it's going to come down to either 3-loss Big Ten or 3-loss SEC team and a 1-loss Big 12 or ACC team. And I said the Big Ten or SEC team is going to get in. So I was wrong on 2 counts. SMU had 2 losses, not 1. And the ACC team still got in, which I'm happy for. Even though they got killed, we saw what Alabama and also South Carolina would have done. All right. And, Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss, I mean, you could run up the score on Duke, but Duke had a quarterback starting his first game ever, and we're not talking basketball here, so it just doesn't mean the same thing. With all due respect to Duke, they're much improved in their football program from when I was growing up, but we're still not talking basketball here, so it doesn't mean the same thing. So I guess my point is I was also wrong on, I thought a 3-loss Big Ten or SEC team would get in over an ACC Big 12 team, and I thought it'd be over a 1-loss ACC or Big 12 team, but instead it was a 2-loss SMU ACC team that ended up getting in. You got any final thoughts on a little bit of that college football conversation, the SEC bias, and just how crazy it is? We got 3 clips. We may play that in the final segment and talk a little bit more about the SEC bias and save the NFL talk a little bit for tomorrow. What do you think, Jake?
That sounds good to me.
All right, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Have you heard about Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center? Located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard, Advanced Medical Imaging offers compassionate, patient-focused care and provides outpatient surgery services, making it possible to have non-emergency surgery and return home the same day. Advanced Medical Imaging specializes in cardiology, vascular radiology, orthopedics, pain management, and so much more. Give them a call today at 402-261-1085 or online at amimaging.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and the holiday sales event is now underway with unbelievably low interest rates and huge discounts on both our new and pre-owned inventory. Right now, we're offering 0% interest rates or $13,000 off select new models. These are the absolute biggest discounts of the year. You heard right, 0% interest rates or $13,000 off select new models. So please stop on in or check us out online at cobblecars.com. All deals with approved credit, must trade, and Costco.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in, temperature-controlled, high-end wine bar. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for wine, beer, spirits, and cigars. Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln. There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
This just in, hot off the bench press. Planet Fitness has added new strength equipment. Save $28 or more when you join today, and you can be one of the first to try it out. We're raising the bar with new benches, and our new hack squat will have you actually looking forward to leg day. Plus, we're still repping all of the best-in-class equipment we've always had, with most clubs open 24 hours, so you can work out your way on your time. So let's do this. Join Planet Fitness today and save $28 or more. Just $1 down, $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends January 10th. See Home Club for details.
New year, new you? Barrel's Extreme Body Shaping can help make sure you keep that resolution this time. Our proven system combines kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition, along with our expert coaching to make sure you're moving forward toward your goals. The next 10-week challenge starts January 11th, but if you enroll now, you can start today and get a head start on those gains for no extra cost. Plus, head to fxblincoln.com and you can save $100. Don't wait. Barrel's Extreme Body Shaping at 40th and Yankee Hill and 70th and Vine.
Hello.
Angela, we have to break up.
But why?
Because you're a robot and I'm just a guy trying to get better internet.
It's Allo Fiber, isn't it? I always knew you wanted faster speeds. My contract isn't good enough for you.
Face it, Angela, they let me talk to real people.
Press 4 to break my heart. Oh wait, you already did.
Visit allofiber.com to switch today.
Hey Husker Nation, this is Todd Euler, two-time national champion, here to talk to you about Window World Lincoln. At Window World, we specialize in replacement windows, doors, siding, and roofing. Whether you're looking to enhance the beauty of your home or increase its energy efficiency, we've got you covered. And here's the best part. We offer the best for less. Our team is dedicated to providing top quality products and exceptional service at affordable prices. We want to earn your business and make your home improvement dreams a reality. So why wait? Contact Window World Lincoln today at 464-7313 or visit our website at windowworldlincoln.com. Window World Lincoln, where quality meets affordability.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
What's it take to be a mentor with big brothers, big sisters? It takes 30 minutes and a cup of coffee. A video game, best 2 out of 3. It takes sharing thumbs up emojis, clapping emojis, and loaded nachos at halftime. That's how you make an impact on a young kid's life. So go on, share a few hours a month, because mentorship may sound huge, but the truth is, it takes little to be big.
To learn more, volunteer or donate, go to bbbslincoln.org.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Boom! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. Check out all things The Ticket at theticketfm.com. carrikerchronicles.com. Also, the Carriker Chronicles, carrikerchronicles.com, and the tube of you. Just type in Carriker Chronicles. All right. We're going to save those 3 clips for tomorrow and dive more into the NFL tomorrow. I found the thing I was alluding to earlier with Aaron Rodgers. Can Aaron Rodgers take the Jets to the Super Bowl? The comment below was yes, but he would have to buy a whole lot of tickets. I thought that was pretty funny. Now, did you know this, Jake? Aaron Rodgers is now the most sacked quarterback in NFL history. The future Hall of Famer has been sacked 571 times.
My goodness. I was surprised to see he's also like, I don't know what is the top 10, top 15 as far as rushing quarterbacks in NFL history. And not that he can't run. I mean, we've seen it before, but I didn't know to that prolific of a stat. But it's just how long he's played. He's played so many years.
That helps too. I mean, what was his senior year? 2000 or senior year Cal 2004. So basically 20 years now. And I'll tell you right now, and we were preparing to play opposing quarterbacks. It wasn't the Michael Vicks that drove us nuts. You knew they were going to run. She's built it into the game plan. With all due respect, he just wasn't as good of a passer. But guys like Aaron Rodgers and Ben Roethlisberger, who could throw and run and throw on the run, or run, look like they're going to throw, and then take off. They were the nightmares because they could do both. And you almost had to plan for the run, but they dissect you in the back end. But if you took away the throw, they could get 10 to 15 yards, and they would take off, even though, I mean, Roethlisberger might try to run you over every once in a while. Not Aaron, but that's okay. All right, here's a couple of random things. This was proposed to me. If Ohio State and Notre Dame end up playing for the title, we got to let Michigan versus Northern Illinois be the undercard. That would be great. We're talking about undercards for college football here. That'd be great. I thought this was cool. A black head coach will win the FBS national championship for the first time ever. All right.
Or we'll be in it, right?
We'll be in it. We'll be in the FBS national championship for the first time ever. Okay. I thought that would be pretty cool. All right. Notre Dame. This is one of the reasons I started to turn on Notre Dame and let Northern Illinois be in the past. Notre Dame's 2 running backs are number 1 and 2 in the entire country in yak yards after carry. That's an impressive stat to me. Okay. Notre Dame is 12-1. This is the 5th time in their school's history that they've won 12 games. And you and I are kind of annoyed how the playoff has, Ohio State. We'll dive more into this in the future. They lost to Oregon. They lost to Michigan. Didn't play for a conference championship, let alone win it, yet they could still win the national championship. If you're telling me that the regular season hasn't been devalued in some way, shape, or form, like that first game against Oregon means nothing. Like it never happened. Does not matter. In fact, I could argue Ohio State benefited because they didn't have to play in the Big Ten title game, which means they got the bye week that you actually want, and then they got the first round playoff because they didn't play in the conference title game. So there was their bye week. So Oregon never really got a bonus bye week. Then they played in a game, all right, and they were crisp and ready for the second round playoff game versus Oregon. Then they mollywopped them.
That's actually a really good point that I hadn't thought of before. If you're going to be a top 4 seed, you are not going to get the previous bye week. So the bye week doesn't really help you in a matter of games. It's just which week you're going to have a bye week.
You know who's figured it out is Notre Dame. They will always have that conference championship weekend as a bye week. They will never be rusty in the second round because they'll always play in the first round. And they're Notre Dame. If they're in, they probably got a home field advantage. They have figured it out. I made fun of them a year ago. Wow. Hey, it's all right. I got no problem admitting when I'm wrong. They have figured it out. And when I was laughing at them a year ago, I was pointing 1 finger back at them and 3 at me, and I could not have been more wrong, and they nailed it. Think about this. For the national champ, it's going to be either a 2-loss Ohio State team that lost to a 7-5 Michigan team, a 2-loss Texas team that already lost to the same team twice, so we know there's someone out there better, Georgia, than Texas. All right, a 2-loss Penn State team who we already know isn't as good as Ohio State or Oregon. Why? Because they've already lost to them. Or a 1-loss Notre Dame team who did lose to Northern Illinois. But I've kind of put that to bed, but that is a bad loss. But that is what the 12-team playoff does. It makes the end of the regular season more exciting until we realize, hey, the teams that are 10 through 12 are just going to get killed. So getting in doesn't really matter. All that doesn't matter is Oregon-Ohio State regular season. Matchup doesn't matter. Ohio State-Michigan, that rivalry's now been devalued. And to me, that's what I see. And if you're like, well, every other sport does it, I don't care. If everybody else jumps off a bridge, then everybody else can jump off a bridge. Not the perfect metaphor, but you get what I'm saying. I never wanted to be like any other sport. I liked that college football was different. I liked that it was unique. I liked that every game supposedly mattered. Jake and I agree on this, and we are absolutely in the minority. We will whine and complain more as the offseason goes on. All right, the SEC. I'm tired of these hypotheticals. I had someone tweet me, oh, if Nebraska played in the SEC, they wouldn't even, win 4 games. I was like, oh, so more hypothetical wins for the SEC. Attaboy, you made a real point right there. The fact is, with all these teams whining about not getting in and Lane Kiffin doing his thing, and we'll play more clips tomorrow. We're going to save those clips for tomorrow and more NFL talk for tomorrow. I'm all about what happens on the field. That's why when some people just want to disregard the G5 teams, I thought Boise State played a competitive game. And if they didn't have that bye, do they keep it even closer? Because they started out 14-0. It was before Georgia and Notre Dame ever happened. The teams with byes were outscored 45-3 in the first quarter, in the first 3 playoff games that included teams with byes. By the way, Notre Dame outscored Georgia in the first quarter. I just don't remember the specific score at the end of the first quarter. So it's even worse than that. So my point is, let's see what happens instead of just sitting at a desk, screaming into a mic and saying, I know who's the best. No, you don't. That's why we play the game. That's why the ball's shaped funny. It's why all hell breaks loose anytime there's a Saturday. It's what I love about college football. Turns out, the Big Ten is 5-1 versus the SEC in bowl games. The SEC has had a rough, and again, I got all due respect for the SEC. I still think they're one of the 2 best conferences in America. And over the past 20 years, maybe the best conference. I'm still going to say they're top heavy, but you can make an argument they're the best conference. I get sick and tired of the whining, the entitlement, and the insane ESPN SEC bias. It drives me nuts. The ESPN SEC network drives me nuts. All right. Big Ten, 5-1 versus SEC teams in bowl games. Navy beat Oklahoma. Just throw that out there. Across all sports, the Big Ten has 303 national championships. The SEC has 214. Just in case anyone's interested in actual numbers and facts. I thought this was interesting. Michigan got so much better as the year went along. Michigan has beaten Alabama in 2024 more times than Georgia's beaten Alabama since 2007. Georgia's beaten them once in 17 years. Michigan beat them twice last year. Michigan was a combined 36-point underdog to Alabama and Ohio State. They held them both to a combined 23 points. All right, Ohio State is probably going to win the national title. At least they look like the hottest team. Again, I'm going to use the word hottest, not best. Hottest team, hot at the right time. 45-4 against everyone else, not named Michigan, 0-4 versus Michigan. Notre Dame, pardon me, Notre Dame had almost as many TFLs as points allowed versus Georgia. 9 TFLs and gave up 10 points to the Bulldogs. Oh, here's the thing I was talking about earlier. Husker Athletics rank 8th nationally in a list of most valuable college athletic programs at $943 million. Nebraska is $3 million ahead of Tennessee, who's number 9. Nebraska is number 8 and joins Ohio State and Michigan, who are number 1 and 4 respectively, from the Big Ten in the top 10. All right. A couple more cool facts. Now that I've jumped on the Notre Dame and Ohio State bandwagon, I've kind of completely ignored Texas and Penn State. Gee, who do you think I'm going to predict to win? Notre Dame has beaten 9 straight ranked teams, and Xavier Watts was the Sugar Bowl defensive MVP from Omaha. Got to keep those kids in state. And last question as we head out of here. The payout, the college football conference payout for being in the Final Four. Texas, Ohio State, Penn State, Notre Dame. The SEC for Texas being in is $14 million. The Big Ten for Ohio State and Penn State in is 14 apiece, so $28 million. Notre Dame by themselves is keeping $14 million. That, ladies and gentlemen, is why they stay independent. I wish I could have my cake and eat it too. All right, ladies and gentlemen, appreciate you joining me. It was great to be back. New York was awesome. I about fell off the top of the Rockefeller Center. I did not, but about freaked out. But that's okay. We had a whole lot of fun. See you tomorrow. Go Big Red Nose. Remember to throw the bugs.
This is Lincoln's home for sports.